Hello and welcome to This Week in Property. I'm your host, Richard Swan, and that handsome gentleman on the other side of the screen, if you're watching this, and by the way, you really do have to watch this particular episode, is Nico Davis from Property Market Intel. Hello, Nico, and welcome to the show.
Hi Richard, how's it going?
Fabulous. We have been chatting back and forth quite a few times. We've had a lot of emails. We've had a demo. I'm going to throw that wee teaser word out there because your team, you've got a pretty fascinating tool, an amazing platform for people inside the world of property. And inside lots of areas inside the world of property, which is just tremendous. So I'm really excited about this. I know we're going to see stuff, but to help folks, they're watching, they're listening in their car and stuff. Who is it? Who is this guy? What's happening here? Before we see something, before you got to property market intel, what was the kind of journey for you? Have you always been in property or tech or whatever? What would you say?
It's a good question. So the journey kind of started back at university. So
Right.
I was doing my master's at the time, through in Edinburgh,
Mhm.
and the course wasn't property related. It was kind of tech focused. It was looking at the financial sector,
Right.
data analysis, things like that. But I've always had an interest in property, to be honest, whether that be around me or whatever. So the data analysis section of the course, I was looking at property, whether to do it for my thesis or things like that. So it was in my
Mhm.
mind, and I started to research kind of data analysis, what data sets there were on property, differences between England and Scotland and things like that. And then it was kind of, I think it was during COVID, it was about 3 odd years ago now. I got an email from my kind of lead professor to say there was a competition on. It was to do with innovation, etc., etc. I think probably, as most people do, they kind of disregard it and go, "Won't win that. It's against hundreds of people. I'll just leave it." So I left it for a couple of weeks, and then I came back to it and thought, I think it was boredom of COVID. To be honest, I thought, "Ok, I'll give it a bash." So I submitted the application for, back then it was much simpler application than we've got now, and got an email back saying a couple of weeks later, we like the project, can you jump on a call? So went through the process of a couple of calls and speaking to them, and honestly, I didn't tell anyone, because I thought never going to win it. So got to the end, and we, Property Market Intel was born. We won the
Wow.
competition. We got the grant funding from the uni, and then that kind of led to the MVP. Went on to get kind of further funding from the university, which was great, which helped develop us even further. And then it was just a progression. We just kept on developing functionality, developing product, building the team, working with our users, finding new strategies, and then kind of accelerate forward to today. We've got probably one of the leading platforms in the UK, for whether you're a beginner or an advanced property investor. So it's a short journey.
That's
I'm still
amazing.
quite young, but yeah, that's it summed up.
That's brilliant. I mean, on a personal angle, that's fascinating. How does that even feel? Because pre-competition, you're obviously at uni, you're obviously studying, you're obviously doing stuff in tech. Did you know what you were going to do afterwards? Did you have an inclination at all before this wee, tangent came into your life?
Honestly, I didn't really have an idea. I was applying for jobs like everyone does,
Right.
worried during COVID whether or not a job was going to come or not.
Of
I was
course.
looking at different sectors, whether it was finance or data analysis and things like that.
Hmm.
I was supposed to do my thesis in
I
kind
was
of
supposed
property
to do
data
my
and
thesis.
analysis. No, I switched last minute to inefficiencies in the football market. So I
Oh,
preferred,
brilliant.
betting was more interesting. So I did it on that in the end, and yeah, so
Wow.
that's kind of where it kind of ended up, and how we got back to property. Property was there, and
Yeah.
then the kind of project was in my head. I was working on a few things just personally while doing my studies, and that's kind of where the idea came from.
Hmm.
And at the time when the competition came around, it was making a judgment call whether or not personally I would go for a job,
Hmm.
or I would do the project. I think if it
Hmm.
wasn't for the competition and winning and getting that grant funding, I would have probably gone down the route of getting a job in data analysis or tech or something
Right.
like that. But obviously, the competition came along and we got it, and it kind of things just snowballed from there. If you'd asked me then, even after the competition, whether we would be where we are today, I'd have probably said no chance.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a fantastic journey so far.
It's tremendous. I love how you've just rode that wave. It wasn't planned, it wasn't
Yeah.
set out. You were just going on, just let's apply for jobs, let's see what comes out. But then something happens in life, something, and it's an opportunity. And I think that it's perfectly mirrored in the world of property. Let's be honest, there's opportunities everywhere. And then what are you going to do about it? Are you going to walk away from it? Are you going to work hard on it? Are you going to ride the wave with it and see where it takes you? You've got a real, you've grabbed an entrepreneurial spirit there that I think will connect to a lot of people watching this, listening into this. It's amazing, absolutely amazing, brilliant stuff. Right, so let's see the magic, as they say. So, folks, I know a lot of you listening to podcasts, and I'm the same. You put them on the car and stuff. That's cool. By all means, continue to do that. If you've tuned in as usual and you've got it playing in the car, brilliant. Listen in, kind of, hear some of the stuff that we're jumping into, because you're going to be listening and thinking, "What? Wait a minute! It can do what? It's got what? Oh my god!" And then after it, make sure you go back and actually watch the episode. Okay, so remember all the episodes. We always do video and audio. It's on the website, it's on YouTube, it's everywhere out there. Just make sure you go back whenever it's safe to do so and really clue into this, because I've seen some of this magic, and there's even parts I've not seen yet because they have just been released. So you're really getting to see some of the hot news off the press. But Nico, take this away, my man. Start to share the screen, bring things
Okay,
up in
perfect.
this amazing system, and we'll just, you take the leads. We'll work through areas, and no doubt I'll have wee questions and things I can ask on behalf of the listeners and stuff. But take it away, my man. That's me. I can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. So to kind of give a summary of what the platform's aim is and who it caters for and what it does. So we're kind of an property investment platform. We have data points across probably every niche in the market. We have people who are beginners in property, never bought property in their life, never heard of it, all the way through to advanced portfolio landlords, investment funds, etc. All use the platform for their different use cases and different ways in which we want to extract the data. I'm just gonna run through some of our kind of a high level features. There's a lot of other features there that are smaller tools that people use, but we're going to stick to the headlines. I'll try and be as descriptive as possible when going through them for the audio listeners, but yeah, as
Just
Richard
tease
says, it's
them.
probably
Just
best if
tease
it's
them so
supposed to
that
be.
so we
Yeah,
get them on.
it's definitely more a visual podcast, I would say.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
so I'll start off with just our kind of our first basic tool that every investor uses just to do a bit of due diligence, a bit of research, whether it's their home local area or whether they're looking at a new territory that they've not looked for, is our local area data. So if we go in here and you can draw your own custom area or you can just key in an out code. So we just go for central Manchester, for example. So this is where you can define the area, you can choose, you can make it as big or small. The only thing that hampers the size of your area is the data density. So obviously in more rural areas, you can select a larger area to get a more accurate result set. When you're in more urban areas, you can get smaller and smaller and still pull out some accurate results. So we would go with M1 and generate the data. So this is your dashboard. This gives you insights into asking prices of your selected area, sold prices, rents, yields, historicals, stock, activity, HMO, and planning. And each of those tabs probably lead into another tool. So it kind of gives you the overview. And then if you want to dig further, for example, HMO, you can dig further into our HMO valuation tool, look at more exact comps, etc. So you can just look at the asking prices. You can see Central Manchester is obviously kind of flat, focused, 1, 2 bed, 3 bed area. You'll look at this from current listings. You're looking at 3-month blend, which gives you a look at the current listings plus also listings that have been active in the last 3 months. And you can also look at that in terms of a map view and also just as a table. You can export this data as a CSV, etc. I won't bore you with every single tab, so we'll fire through. This is looking at sold prices, looking at price per square foot, looking at sales volume, and seeing what the market's doing, whether or not it's trending upwards, trending downwards. We can also look at the rents in the area, what the averages are per room type. We can then hover over these, have a look at the listing, look at the picture, etc. So it's a great tool to get high level and also detailed data We can look at yields by bedroom type. This is a tool that's also very popular with our investors. It's historicals. So you can look at
Hmm.
historical rentals. You can go in, you can see what is the historical rentals since July 21 for one bed flats in Manchester. And we can see there is a steady uptick, an uptrend. And we can see the volumes dipped slightly,
Hmm.
um, but we can still see that is a popular market, and I'd be confident in looking at the one bed and the two bed markets because that upward trend. We can also see the trend in three beds, supply is a bit less. We can see it's a bit more volatile.
And you know,
And
straight
beyond that, we
away
can
you
even
can
go,
see that the amount of data is just unbelievable. And as you say, this is areas we're targeting at the moment. And I think this ticks the box for so many people I know in the world of property. They're just checking out a new area they want to invest in. Maybe they're kind of working in a specific area that for themselves and doing flips and stuff. And a wee term we sometimes throw away is, you know, you're becoming the expert. You're becoming the gold mine area expert. What is my area like? What's this like for three beds? What's this like for rental? So on and so forth. So it's brilliant for them, you know, just a general sense check of an area. You know, I'm stressing that word rather than a unit or a particular property. And then, of course, we've got folks who source properties for other people, for investors, for hands-off investors who they maybe don't have these tools, they don't have the knowledge or the strategies to bring together an opportunity. But look at the data that we can now present to an investor. I can actually say to them, listen, I can find you two beds in this area. And here's why that might be a good thing for you. Because have a look at this, have a look at these charts, have a look at the historical data. The amount of stuff that's there to help someone either in the business for themselves or in the business sourcing for other people, it's just phenomenal, isn't it?
100%, and everything on the site can be pulled out via CSV or PDF. So you can extract it, you can put it into your own reports, or you can send it straight to an investor and give them the lowdown in the market.
Mm-hmm.
And as you say, I
And
think becoming an expert in any area in the UK
mm-hmm.
is used to be a thing that you'd have to reach out and speak to a local expert, whether that be
Yeah.
an agent or another investor. But now you can take it upon yourself. You can go, you can make yourself, as you say, an expert in any location in the UK very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, my excitement to kind of show a point to the viewers and stuff, I cut you off when you were showing me. I think what you were doing is you were going below the kind of overall general data, and was it like lists of individual properties you had at the bottom of the screen? Is that where I
So
cut
yeah,
you off
that was
there?
just
Yeah, looking at
we were looking at our
historicals.
yep. Oops, come
Right.
back there. We're looking at historicals, and we're looking at how you can actually go in and look at the exact historical listings. So
Right.
even when data is um, off Zoopla, off Rightmove, off Open Rent, you can actually use our platform to go in and actually see how long were those listings active for, how long were they there for, and how long did it take to rent, what was the price, etc. We can see though with the current market at the moment, there's a lot of properties that are on there and off within the day or within a couple of days.
Yeah, of
But you
course.
can see the ones that are hanging. Why was that hanging, etc. So it's a great tool to be able to. You can filter by bedroom, sort by price, descending, and again you can export it by CSV for
Yeah.
your own analysis in Excel or
Yeah,
whatever
well, that's the
you
thing. I
want to
love how
analyze.
flexible it is, you know, because so many people work differently, don't they? You know, someone will use this tool. Oh, I've got a great wee system. What I do is I run my searches and then I use it out in a CSV file, and then I've got my own wee spread. Oh, that's cool. I use it this way, and I use the PDF thing because it's just brilliant for showing my investors, and they love the information that I'm sharing with them. Everyone can use it in their own way, and the data that's there is just remarkable.
100%. I think too many platforms these days tie you in and make it difficult to actually build upon what we have. So we make it easy to allow people just, if they want to build upon it, they can build upon it. If they want to
Hmm.
just pull what we've got and create time efficiencies, they can do
Hmm.
that. So yeah, no, it's a great tool, whether you're a source or investor or whatever. It's a great tool to pull your own data or use ours or whatever. There's no tie-ins or anything like that.
Aye, that's
Um,
right. You're not put
with
in
it.
a box to play a certain way, etc.
No. So we can go through the other tabs. I went through
Right.
briefly when Rich when you were talking, to be honest. But just to give a brief summary, we can look at the stock in the market,
Hmm.
currently on the market. We can look at the activity in terms of sales, rentals, whether it's a buyer's market, seller's market, whatever, how long it's taken on average to sell. Um, this is a brief overview of HMO rates and kind of band of pricing that is seen in the market, the high low range. And we also have a brief planning tab as well, which gives information just on planning applications. But we have a more detailed tool where you can use keywords and things like that as well. But this just kind of gives a brief summary. So I think that probably sums up the buy to let kind of location overview. I don't know, do you want me to move into short term? I know you were excited for this one, Richard.
Yeah, and
we can have a look at that.
As you step forward, I'll remind folks kind of watching this just now, that was a customized area. There are a lot of other, I'm going to call them, Nico probably wouldn't be as rude, much lesser systems out there, and I've seen a lot of them. And yeah, they can show you some stuff in an area, absolutely. But it's usually kind of postcode specific or a county specific or something like that. But as Nico showed you at the start of that, he brought up the kind of Manchester area using the code to begin with, but he really can draw on little handles on the map and customize it, similar in a way to some of the things you can do inside of Rightmove, inside their own platform in that small box. But this data is customized for that. So we know that we can get to know an area and think to ourselves, you know something? I now know that on the other side of the kind of railway line in this town, nah, that's not for me. That's an area I really shouldn't be investing in. Well, cool. Do that. Pull the map back. Really hone it into what you want to focus on. And then the better instructions, I suppose, that you're giving the system, then the better feedback and the better data the system will be able to provide for you. I think the customization is a fantastic thing.
Yeah, and I think coming on to your point there, where I know a lot of people who use Rightmove to check for comps and Zoopla and things like that. But what we do is we bring that all into one platform. So
yes,
we look at Rightmove, Zoopla's on the markets, whether that be open rent as well now, which is becoming even more popular.
Yeah.
So we can bring all of those different data points, and especially estate agents are starting to be more picky about what portals they use. So you're starting to see variances across all four of those portals. So being able to bring that into one tool is really important, so you don't miss anything.
Absolutely.
I would say.
That's a huge benefit.
So yeah,
right,
let's
where
have
are
a
we
look at
jumping into now?
Let's look at short-term rental data. So we've looked at long-term rental data.
Right.
Let's have a look at short-term serviced accommodation. I think that's the buzzword on everyone's lips at the moment. Everyone loves a bit of short-term accommodation. So this is, think of the previous section, and this is kind of the same section, but just solely focused on Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking.com, etc. And again, there's lots of tabs here, so we'll fire through them. You need to go through them in your own time. We have kind of tutorial videos in each section. You can go through and learn more in depth. Or else, to be honest with you, I think we'd be here all day if we were to go through each section.
It does so much, yeah, exactly. We could be on for about 5 hours. We just want to show you the
100%.
And then, as Nico said, little demo videos. Brilliant. Go for it, my man.
So the key here is you can access data for anywhere in the UK. We're on an agent account just now, but just with our general pro plan at £35 a month, you get access to every area in the UK. There's no extra packages or buying extra neighbourhoods or anything like that. You get full access to every location in the UK for all our data. So looking here,
that's a game changer, by the way. This is the part I've not seen yet because it's kind of so fresh out the box. But I know other systems and I've used them, and they're not bad, and some are a bit clunky. But a lot of them, they really pin you down and they bleed your costs, because it's like, oh, well, Richard, if you want to have a look in that area, we'll charge you this amount per month. And if you want to have a look over here, we need, you've got to be joking. But what you're saying, this tool, forget that. This is like UK wide, and it's whatever subscription I choose, and then that's it. All these areas are then open to me.
All these areas for £35 a month. And yeah, just picking up on your point, I think every investor these days is kind of UK wide. People are getting deals from all over the country. And I think a frustration I definitely had was getting a deal for, say, Leeds, and all of a sudden you're having to buy a new subscription for Leeds, and the cost would just get, and you only want to just check it. You look at the information quickly, the deal doesn't stack up, you move on, but you've already signed up for a month for Leeds. You don't, the next deal was in Birmingham. So this is a perfect tool to just help that process. 100%. So let's jump in. Let's look at I've kind of skipped a couple of parts there. You select your region. So we're in Scotland. We're
Right.
selecting a city, which is Glasgow, and let's just go for the city centre
Okay.
to keep it easy. So you've got different tabs. You've got overview,
Hmm.
occupancy, looking at rates, looking at revenue, looking at pacings, looking forward at what the bookings are like and going for the next 12 months.
Hmm.
We can look at top properties, seasonalities, and also smart rates. So here's your overview. We give you detailed overview on the area, so what the rental growth is like, what the rental demand is like in the area, how many rentals are in the area, what the average daily rate is, occupancy, revenue, rental type. So, for example, whether it's made up of entire houses, private rooms, what the most popular room type is. So, you can see it's 2 bedrooms most popular.
Mm.
We can see the rental growth, amenities, etc., etc. Um, Also, the map functionality is a great tool. Everybody loves to have a nosy at what their neighbour's making and how much what their occupancy is. So you can go in here, you can hover over a property, you can look at what its revenues in the last 12 months, its ADR, its occupancy, and how many days it was available to rent. You can zoom out, zoom in, so you can see here the highlighted areas, the Glasgow area
Mm.
that we're looking at across all the data, and we can zoom right in on each individual property. You can see picture, and if you want, you can just click this link here and it takes you straight to the Airbnb listing if you want some more
Right.
information on it and have a look at their calendar or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it's a great tool.
Oh,
This
it
map's
really
featured
is.
in all our pages, so
Right.
you can see it as you like.
Hmm.
So let's look at first tab, occupancy. So we give historical occupancy rates, looking at percentiles, so looking at the top 10% in the market. What was their occupancy? Top 25. Everybody always aims for the top 20, top 10, but you're probably looking at more what the average is around the 50%, 75%. You can look at the supply in the market. So look at active listings. How many active listings over the last 2 years is there in Glasgow? So we can
Hmm.
see there was a sharp spike. That might have been around COP26
Oh,
time.
the cop to
But
yeah.
um, we can also see that the general number of listings in the last year or so has started to maybe dip or level out. So the
Hmm.
supply is the same, and then you can come down to demand growth and see actually is the market growing. You can hover
Mm.
over and see how many booked properties there were in that month, and also how many listing nights were booked in that month. So we can see there is a general uptick in demand in the area. So you could say Glasgow has good potential.
Mm.
Supplies stalling while demand is also going up, which might give opportunity to people to be able to increase their ADR in that area. And all these can be filtered. So you can filter by entire place, room, bedrooms, accommodation. So you can filter it down whether you want to just be looking
Right.
at the occupancy of 2 bed properties or 3 beds, or whether you
Yeah,
want to look at
exactly.
properties that
That's right. You know, someone comes
accommodate
to
a
me
certain
with
amount.
an opportunity and they're saying, listen, Richard, this one I can get it for you. It's a 2 bed. You know, I know you were talking about some service accommodation stuff. Oh, that's right. Wait to check that area. And I can really laser focus. Like, show me the 2 bed data. I know you've got all this data, but just show me that one because I want to see if I want to proceed with this or not. I mean, that stuff's invaluable for an investor.
No, 100%. 100%. And it's the same kind of filters across all tabs. So you can do the same across all the pages in terms of filtering it down. We can look at the average daily rate, um, average price tiers. You can look at what the average daily rate is for a luxury property, an
Mhm.
economy property, a budget property, mid-scale, upscale, etc. You can try and position how you're going to stage your property. Is it going to be a luxury one? Or are you going to look for middle of the market, maybe
Mhm.
lower end for contractors, etc.? So yeah, it's a great tool to kind of work out what ADR you need and where your property needs to sit in terms of staging and things like that.
Mhm.
Um, so we have rates, revenue, um, pacing. So with pacing is a great chart. This is probably my most favorite on the platform, actually. If you can have a favorite chart. um, so looking at future demand analysis, we're looking at rate analysis, future demand. So here we can see looking forward into the next kind of I don't know, for next 12 months, we can see what's been booked, what's still available, how many listings are available when you hover over. So if we pick, for example, Monday, the 27th of March, we can see in Glasgow, there's current 8% occupancy. There's 115 properties that have been booked. The median price of those booked properties is £101 a night. And we can see there's still 1,400, sorry, properties available on the market, and their medium listing price just now is £152. So you can really get insights into what's coming up in the market, what's booked, what's not booked, whether or not there's certain events happening in the market, if there's certain spikes, why is there certain spikes, should be changing your pricing. All these kind of things all factor in. And you can see, same with booking trends, you can see what's been booked, etc. You can also see kind of the booked rate compared to the previous year. So if you want to look at a certain date, you can see the current available rate, current booked rate, what the previous booked rate was, and can see if there's an uptick in growth, and see, you can try and spot some patterns. Moving on to another great tool, if you're researching an area and if you want to reach for the top, is top properties. So this tool gives you instant insight into who the biggest earners are, or if you want, who's got the highest average daily rate, or who's got the most reviews in an area. So we can see in Glasgow, there's a whole host of properties here. They're all numbered and they all link into the map, so you can see about exactly where they're positioned. And we give you great detail on their revenue in the last 12 months, their ADR, how many reviews they've got. With the Airbnb algo, reviews are really important. So if you're wanting to aim for that higher ADR, that revenue, you need to work out how many reviews you need to try and compete. We can then go in and click those and look at the reviews and see what is it people are liking about the property, whether it's location, amenities, etc. So again, this is a great tool just to get a snapshot of the top end of the market. And again, you can filter this down. So obviously when you make the initial search, 5-bed houses and larger properties come up first. So you want to maybe filter that down to like a 2-bed so you can see exactly what's going on. We have seasonality, which looks at pricing for the last 12 months. So pacing was looking at the future 12 months. Now we're looking at the last 12 months. So we can see where the market is and where were the poor months. So it's color coded, which is great. You can look at January, February, March. There were pretty poor months in Glasgow. As we go towards the summer months, towards June, July, August, September, maybe uni time near September, parents are visiting, etc. We can see that the ADR picks up and we start to get some deep red numbers and some high ADR weekends and midweeks, which is what you want to see. That kind of follows the general pattern of most locations, to be honest, in short-term accommodation. And then we also have our smart rates feature, which you can kind of put in your property, and we can kind of, again, guide you on what we think your rate should be. And you can look at the data which backs up that kind of ADR valuation, where it sits in the market, what's been booked, if it's low demand, high demand, etc. So yeah, this is a really great tool for kind of doing your locational research. There's so much to unpack. I think we've done a good job at firing through and unpacking as much as we can.
Absolutely, yeah.
You could spend an hour just, I think, on this itself, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I know a few investors that will just live inside this part of the tool.
Oh, I think I've never seen so many people I know are suddenly become so nosy and interested in serviced accommodation. It opens their eyes to what could be there, and I think that's what our platform kind of does. It takes an investor who might just be a kind of starting out buy-to-let investor and actually opens their eyes to, should I try more creative strategies like HMO or as serviced accommodation? And also, I think coming on to I was watching your podcast with Bilal, who was great at talking about all the legislative issues there are at the moment, and it's going to become a lot harder if you're new to service accommodation. It's going to take a lot longer to get that application process. So if you're going to go down that route, you need to know that it's going to be a profitable route, and you need to be backed up by hard data and facts if you want to go through the process of planning and reaching out to the council and doing all of that. So that's where, again, this tool can give you the confidence that time and monetary investment is going to be worth it in the end.
Tremendous stuff. Right, what else can we play with?
So now we're going to look at essentially a 12-month valuation of a short-term property. So we're going to look at taking all of the data that we've looked at before. Let's package it up. Let's take in an address. Let's take your number of beds, number of baths, what the accommodation, how many people it can accommodate, This is set up for a rent to rent, so you also have the rent to landlord. You can put that at 0, or you can put in your mortgage rate in there. It kind of works the same. And it, as I was saying, it takes the data from before, works out based on those occupancy rates, those ADRs month by month, and builds your cash flow. Because with service accommodation, a lot of people just go in and take, I think I can make this over the 12 months, and they just average it over the 12 months. But we all know with service accommodation, in January, you're not making, you're probably at half what you're going to make in July and August. So we help you forecast that, cash flow out, and analyze it. So let's just do a property in Glasgow. Let's do a flat in the West End. Say flat. Say 2 bed, 2 baths. Accommodates 4. Let's say you rent to landlord 1,000. So we analyze the deal. We can see here our monthly revenue estimate. We can see our total annual revenue, our average daily rate, and our expected occupancy. We can see our estimated occupancy based on each month. So we can see March, we're saying we're going to have 52%. You can see how that rises towards we get to the later end of the summer, and then dips down again as we reach the end of the year. We have the future ADR as well, where we believe your ADR will sit across the year. Obviously, people have different pricing strategies, etc., which will change that, whether or not they're going to go for more higher occupancy in January, February, March, but say have a lower ADR. We can kind of try and keep as consistent ADR as possible on the valuations. We can then just fire in all your costs, monthly costs, fixed costs. Again, this is built in a rent-to-rent model, so there's not any upfront purchase costs, which is why your ROI is so high. Don't get too excited.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we just build all that data into a nice cash flow. So we look at the 12 months ahead. We tell you what your net is, what your expenses are based on the information you put in above. Your occupancy, ADR. Yeah, it's just a nice, easy cash flow.
That's incredible. What an amazing business tool. You know, never mind just an
100%.
analysis tool. It's an actual business tool because, you know, cash is king. Cash flow can kill you, or it can bring your success into more investments. This is amazing.
No, 100%. And then if you're thinking, yeah, but how does this all stack up? We've got the comps down below, which then back up what you've just had to look at before. So we can then look at, how many have we got here? We've got 4, 8, 12. So we get 12 properties, all near, you can see at the map, all roughly in and around where our valuation has just been made. And we can look at this occupancy, their ADRs, their revenue, etc., and compare that to what's above. And we can also then click on these and go to Airbnb, have a look at the listings and say, okay, they're the properties we want. What do we need? Let's look at the furnishings, etc. Most of our valuations are of the higher end of the market. So they look at kind of medium to high end. If you're not looking for that, you've got to factor that in and say, okay, this ADR is looking more a luxury ADR. You can simply just go back to our previous graph that kind of breaks down all the different levels of property type and just plug that in, and you'll then be able to do just the same with whatever kind of level of property you're looking at. So yeah, so that's us run through short-term accommodation. So
that's a cracker. I'm chuffed to bits to see that tool for the first time now. That's amazing what you have pulled together for that part of the industry. It really is.
Yeah, we saw it as an opportunity, and we thought we could develop something that could help people, and especially the sourcers, for example. But we find a lot of sourcers use the valuation tool, and you can pull that into a PDF and just send that straight down and say, here, I've got a deal, have a look at it. Here's how it stacks up. Even with sources as well, we give the opportunity to hide the area. So, for example, you put in the exact location of the property there, you can hide that. So we just give generalized kind of area around where the property is. So you can send it to investors with the knowledge that somebody's not going to nip the deal off your toes or whatever. So yeah, it's a great tool, whether investor or sourcer. I don't know, what should we move on next? We look at off market.
Yeah, by all means, yeah, because again, you know, it's another big area of opportunity, you know, and the people outside the game, they don't even know about this. They just think, oh, everything's, you know, you go to an estate agent down the high street and stuff goes on Rightmove and stuff. But we know, people inside the game, we know that so much of the transactions, so much of these opportunities is off market. So when you find them or you get past details of them, it's a case of, okay, where do I start here with due diligence? Because I'm not just the first time buyer doing a viewing with six other people. That's a completely different animal. So what can the tool help us with when it comes to due diligence, evaluation, and actually looking for those opportunities as well?
So yeah, so I don't know. It was when I think I first reached out to you a while ago now, and it was based around this off-market product because we'd
Yeah.
built it and we thought there was so much value there. There's so many data sets of every property that's not on the market and how we can extract that and find people who are more likely to look to sell and
Hmm.
catch them before that property comes in the market. Which, especially over the last 12 months when the market's been so hot, it's been such a hot topic.
Yeah, it
So
is.
we make it easy. Um, this tool had one key goal. It was how can we make a really simple, effective tool that lets people find off market deals, nothing complicated, let them filter it down, select any area they like, how precise they like, how broad they like, and let them send a letter to that home. Dead simple. They can either send a letter themselves, we don't tie you in, or you can send it with us. Um, Dead easy and simple. And I'll show you how simple it is. So we've landed in G12 here. So this is quite a broad area, I would say, for off market. So if we look at clearing that area, so to give probably a bit of background on, we've selected G12. Friend, it's not from Glasgow. This is the West End. It's a highly flatted area. The property prices are pretty high in the West End. So, but it's also a kind of big student area as well. So whether you're looking for maybe a student buy to let, or more of a luxury buy to let, etc., or maybe a HMO, this is kind of the area you'd be looking at. So on the previous tool, we looked at kind of a broad area. I'll demonstrate how you can actually be extremely specific on how you want. So if we were looking at just, for example, this area here, right next to the university, we can target it like that. You draw your area, and this will then give you every property in that area. But the key is to then go into the filters. So this is where it gets interesting.
Right.
So if we want to just target flats, we also can tell if something's currently privately rented. So for example, you wouldn't want to send a letter to a flat that's already got a bunch of students in it because that letter I can tell is going straight in the bin or it's probably going to lie on the floor at the door until the next tenancy clean, to be
That's
honest.
right.
So you want to probably take that off. Construction date, we won't really bother with construction date, but if you're looking for just new builds or you're looking for older builds, you can filter there. The interesting point that we also do is we also give an estimate value to every property. Now, this isn't an exact valuation that we have in other sections. It's a
Mhm.
rough estimate that lets you guide where your budget is. So if you're only wanting to target certain flats at certain value, we can give you that opportunity to say, listen, just show me the flats that are roughly between 150 and 250,000.
Right.
You can also filter by price per square foot. And also, this is the important part as well. You can actually filter by if the property hasn't sold within the last 3 years. So if you don't want to target anyone that's just bought their home in the last 3 years, they're maybe
Yeah,
less likely to sell. A
of
family's just moved
course.
in, or an investor just moved in, or even in this market, you might want to say, let's target people that have just moved in the last 2 years. With mortgage rates going up, they maybe are looking to
Yeah.
move elsewhere, or investors are looking to bail out the deal. So you might get a deal in your hands. So there's lots of different ways you can do it. You've just got
Hmm.
to work out what the best strategy is for your area at the
Hmm.
exact time. So if we say it hasn't sold in the last, say, 6 months, we can
Right.
then look at the size. So if we want to let's say 2 to 4 bed properties, we can do it by square foot size and habitable rooms as well. And also, which is becoming obviously more and more important for investors, is the EPC rating. So
Yes.
there's a couple of ways you can look at this. You can target properties that have a really bad DPC and say, right, how can we improve them? Is there going to be
Hmm.
can we get a deal on them? Were they below market value? Can we improve them and look to sell? Or you can look at properties that you don't want to have to do any work to and just make sure that it's the correct rating for when you want to move in or rent it out.
Brilliant. You've got a great blend here
Oh,
because there's a technical guy who could build a system and he knows about the data and he knows about the computer code and stuff. Brilliant, that's great. And he'll bring something worthwhile. but you've obviously got a business brain and an investor brain, and you're actually thinking about the possible approaches as well. And I just love that. So this tool to try and target this area, yeah, a minute here. Do we want to think about the kind of the worst EPC ratings, because there could be fantastic opportunity there, especially for an investor who just wants shot of it, and they're going to be much more motivated. Or do we want to go the other way? Let's make sure our costs are down. We don't have to do too much, but we'll check the sales of people just moved in. No, let's do a different strategy. Let's see the ones where they've been in for a while. I love that. There's a fascinating blend of business and fantastic data. That's a winner.
I know we've the demo curse here. I'm not sure why it's bugging out, but
Nope.
we'll reset it and go again. I mentioned that to Richard on the phone. You always get an issue when you're on a demo. So the curse of the live demo. So looking here, you filtered it down.
Right.
You have a look at your properties. You can select, deselect, select, unselect, whatever. You can go through. You can look at the EPC ratings. You can look
Right.
at when the property was last sold, and then you can look at our valuation for the property
Mm-hmm.
as well. And then from that point, once you've got the list of properties you want to target, you've drawn your search areas, you've worked out what flats, etc. You just press send letters, and you can then choose from templates. So we'll just select this one. This is just a complete random floor ipsum, and you then fire in your text. So you can say, read to the homeowner, we're an investor, we're looking to buy your property, blah, 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 blah. You can then have your own logo here. So it's all branded, everything the way you like it.
Wow.
You can put in a campaign name. And then coming back to the point we were talking about earlier, we don't want to tie anyone in. So we have a cost per letter of 65p, which is slightly cheaper than what you can get in the post office, but there's other people out there who have different deals and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we allow you to do self-service, which means you can just select and it will download every single letter to a PDF, which fits a standard window envelope, and you can just send it yourself and carry on that cost if you don't want to. We're not precious whether you work with us on the postage or not. That's
Amazing.
what we're all about. So we'd rather people just get good use of the platform rather than letter cost being a hindrance, etc.
Yeah, that's
So
amazing.
yeah, once you do that, you create your campaign, whether it's self-service or you use our service. You can then go into your letter history and look at previous campaigns that we've looked at, and we can see here this is a previous campaign that I made testing that we've got 28 properties, and you can then send follow-up letters. So you can just press send follow-up, or you can say, actually, I don't think those properties are for me. They got back to me, they said they aren't interested, unselect them, and
Right.
then you can send a follow-up letter. So it's dead simple. It's just like sending emails, and you can target and find and bring to market properties that are currently off, and find wee hidden gems.
That's unbelievable. What a tool. The amount of options and flexibility is just crazy. Because again, it's because I know so many people inside the game, and I know how they all work differently. And I can bring to you just now someone who they've got a real desire to do what they love to call handwritten direct to vendor letters. Right, great. See this tool here? You can use this to scan this area, scan the exact parameters that you think will give you a better chance of finding a motivated seller, finding someone who would be keen to sell. And then from that data, you then go and do business that you do. You can take it out, you can do a wee handwritten letter in different coloured envelopes, and you can physically go and hand it through. You can do that. Right, another guy over here. No, that's not what I do. I like to do big marketing campaigns. I like to hit an area. If I could somehow find a way to hone that down even more, that would be brilliant. It would save me a ton of money. But once I've got it, I'm not doing the whole personal handwritten stuff and going around about. I've got to deal with a leaflet distributor. I've got to deal with someone that can do it. So cool. The tool can do that for you. Get all the data and then use it any way you want. Print that off, do the self-service thing. Or no, I've got another investor that really can't be bothered doing that either. Can you just send them out for me? Yeah, we can do that as well. I mean, that's crazy. The amount of options and flexibility that's here.
it's as you say though, everyone, I don't think I've ever met two property investors that do things the same way.
No, no, exactly.
Everyone does it slightly differently. So you've got to be as flexible. As soon as you start to channel and kind of go down the train track route, you just exclude so many people.
Correct.
So yeah, flexibility is definitely the
Tremendous.
key we're looking at. So yeah, that's our off market.
Hmm.
On to the next. HMOs.
Right.
HMOs are also a big talking point at the moment. Co-living, that's definitely is buy to let becomes maybe slightly harder to get the yields you once could. People are looking at HMO opportunities, serviced accommodation. So we're here to help you on that journey as well with
Brilliant.
our HMO valuation tool. So this is a great tool, gives you a HMO valuation. We look at more of a commercial valuation to the property value, and also we look at the kind of total valuation of the rental potential based on the number of double en suites, single en suites, single double share baths, etc. So if we type in our Glasgow postcode here, we look at go for a high finish quality. It has a living room, say no parking, no outside space, and we'll just go for the example, we'll just go for one single room type in the property. So it's a property with four different rooms of all types. We'll then press the valuation, and instantly you'll see property valuation, then you'll also see the HMO rental valuation. And then if you give it some time, this takes a couple of seconds. So what this is now doing is this pulling in and filtering out all of the live comparables for HMO properties per room type. So you can
Wow.
go in and see, okay, let's have a look at what the average is for a double ensuite room in Glasgow. And then you can actually see what's on the market and how far away that is from your property. So let's look at double ensuites. We've got the map. You can look at the map and you can also check out where they are located. So we're looking at a full list of 20 of the nearest current HMO double ensuite rooms in the Glasgow area related to this property. We can tell you the property type, the total number of rooms that are in the property, if there's a deposit, if it's furnished, and if bills are included, and we give you the price per month. We can also give you the distance. So if we're looking at the top one, we can see it's a flat. There's total 2 rooms in the property. The deposit is 825. It's furnished and bills are included, and it's 750 quid a month. You can also just press view, and it takes you straight to the spare room listing. So you can have a look in more detail, have a look at the pictures, have a look at the description, etc., and and run over the fine tooth comb some more of the detail.
Brilliant stuff.
And we do that for every room type. So if you're looking at double shared bathrooms rather than en suites, again, can run you through the data. It's it's sorted by distance from your property. You can look at it on the map again, and here it's for single en suites and for single with shared bathrooms as well. You can see they're not as popular in Glasgow as we've got a bit of a wider radius.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's
that's a
a
summary of the
big
HMO
deal down
valuation tool.
south, of course. I mean, HMO is a massive marketplace over the border. So
Yeah,
yeah, just it's obviously different in each council region, Article 4s and so on and so forth. But again, you mentioned it, the cash flow, it's incredible when you start to move from a buy-to-let cash flow to an HMO cash flow, things are going up the way. It's amazing. You realise the one
100%.
downside in all of this, don't you? You are potentially, and I don't blame you fully, but you're potentially making some of the laziest property investors I've ever come across. You're taking all this heavy lifting away from people. It's amazing.
Uh, this is the boring part though for people, the searching through loads of different
That's right.
sites. We just want to make that the easy part so
It's so
they can
crucial.
concentrate more on what they're good at.
That's right. That's right. Oh, tremendous. Absolutely tremendous, my man. This has been great. Now, is there anything
But
else you
yeah,
want to quickly show me, or will we chat about things like prices and support and all that kind of stuff? Where's your brain at just now?
it's
We've
it,
covered so much. It's
it's
brilliant.
up to you. We can. I know we've covered a lot. I don't want to bore people. I mean, there's so much. You've got development valuation as well. We can do GDV valuations. You can build PDF reports, etc. Or
Mhm.
we can look at on market sourcing as well if you want to have a look at that. But
Yeah,
no,
I do that.
comparables.
Have a wee quick,
Comparables is a great
yeah,
tool.
exactly. Because it's one of the key things. We have different companies that teach us kind of stuff, and it's so key. doing your numbers, getting comparables, bringing evidence back. That's what data is. It's actually evidence for you. And then you're making better choices as an investor, as a purchaser.
So let's look at a comparable report.
Right.
Exactly. Now, this is probably brings back to the point you just said about lazy investors. This is the best tool for a lazy investor because it just gives you everything you need. If you're worried about what the rental comps are, the sales comps are, the sold comps, the rented comps, this just
Hmm.
gives you it. So you put in here number of bedrooms, property type, let's go flat, and you can also put in the distance as well. So I know different banks have different um, radiuses and what they'll classify as comparables, etc. So you can
Yeah.
select that whatever you want, however it fits your analysis needs.
Hmm.
And we just have tables again sorted by distance from that postcode,
Right.
and we have it for every two-bed property that's currently for sale, every two-bed property that's currently for rent.
Wow.
You can view the details of them as well. You can look at recently sold. You look at direct sold comparables. It looks at just the most recent two-bed properties that have sold.
Right.
You can also look at back to the point on the recently rented, so you can see what's recently rented in that area in terms of two-bed flats. You can see the prices. You can see how long they were sitting in the market for, and why, where are they located, etc. So yeah, this is a great tool
Amazing.
just to get all the information you need instantly
Yeah.
for your comparables.
And again, it's across the breadth of those sources. We're not inside the box of Rightmove, just looking at Rightmove stuff. That this tool's bringing in from all these different sources. It's an amazing quality of data as well.
Yeah, and we always link back, so you can always link back to the original listing, whether it's that's on Rightmove,
Mm.
Zoopla, Open Rent, on the market, whatever.
Yeah,
So
that's right. Which is
yeah,
always handy, isn't it? When you can see maybe a fluctuate. Well, wait a minute, why is that one, 15 grand more? And then by going into the nitty gritty of it, we can find that, oh, wait a minute, that's got a driveway on it, that's got an extension on it, that's got a bigger garden with it, whatever. And all of this data, that word sounds cold, but guess what that does? It makes us buy properly. It makes us negotiate better. It makes us target better for our criteria. This is what's key. This is what makes a successful investor. The amateur investor or the person who goes bust, they're just a gambler. They've just, oh, well, I'll try this one. I'll just buy it. It seems okay. But we can't do that anymore these days. To survive in business, to be successful, to help more people, we've got to choose wisely. And this kind of tool is fantastic. In fact, I'm going to give you an extra pat in the back. I'm going to share something with folks listening. It's not just the quantity of the data and talking about different sources and this, that, and the other. It's also the quality, because seeing this reminds me of something when myself and you started talking a while ago, Nico. I gave you a wee test. I threw you a property type and a random postcode, and I said, listen, run that through your tool and throw it back to me. Because I knew there was a couple of wee quirky things about it that when I ran it through, say, 5 or 6 other much lesser tools, they were way off. They were way off. They were either too low or too high. But your tool came back on the money. And it really surprised us how accurate it was. So there's a wee pat in the back there. It's not just about the quantity of the data, it's the quality that you managed to bring together. And that makes better decisions and more successful investors.
no, 100%. I did have a laugh when you sent through your test. To be fair, I could see. I was like, they've sent over a tricky one. They've clearly been on this road before with somebody else, and yeah, we're obviously confident in our product. We work night and day to make sure the numbers are right and everything. And I think we process over 500,000 data points a day. So yeah, we
Wow.
manage it and try and turn it into something that's actionable and valuable for our users. So yeah, no,
Yeah. No, hats
it's great
off
to
to
hear.
you. Hats off to you. And remember, folks, listening, watching, and stuff, the link to all of this amazing platform, it's inside the show notes. You can have a wee look at that. But so this tool, this product, this thing, what do we need to know about, Nico? What's the thing if I have problems with it? Is there a support mechanism? Has it got demonstration tutorial videos? I think you mentioned as well. Is
Yeah,
there different pricing considerations I can choose between? And what's the other kind of thing? Am I locked in? Do I need to buy it for the first 24 months like a mobile phone? What can you tell me about all of those things as an end user?
okay, so yeah, in terms of support, there's somebody always at hand to support you. If you have an email and you contact us, um, somebody will be in touch within 24 hours. My email's even at the top up here, so you can contact me through that email. I'll get back to you, or you can book a demo, which we won with one of our support team who can chat you through it. It doesn't need to be a demo. It can be just if you want to go on a chat and ask them about something, if you've got a suggestion or anything like that. So yeah, there's a lot of open lines of communication for anyone using the platform. In terms of tutorials, we have a full tutorial hub. So on pretty much every single tool, you'll see a wee learn link. So if we go back to comparables, you'll see a wee learn link up here that
Oh
will
yeah.
just link, and that just links you to our site, and that will load up a YouTube video,
Oh, that's clever.
10-minute video, just talking you through exactly how to use the tool, all the different aspects to it, etc. And that's across,
Brilliant.
as I say, pretty much every tool. If you just look for the learn link,
That's a
you'll find a
great
video
idea.
that can guide you through it.
That is a great idea. The amount of times I had to go off to a knowledge base and then start a search just to find the help I needed, just to find the video to begin with. That's a bloody brilliant
Yeah,
thing you've done there.
yeah, it's just easy videos. You can skip them, run them at 2 times pace, and figure out what you need to figure out,
Yeah.
leave and get back to the platform. In terms of pricing, so pricing's we keep it pretty simple. There's no locked in. You can buy a yearly package if you want,
Hmm.
but it's just like Spotify or Netflix. Sign up, you get a free trial. So you do have to put your credit card details in first to start the trial, but you can cancel anytime within the trial just from the My Account section. You just press cancel and it
Right.
cancels. And then if you continue after the trial, you obviously then get charged. We have 4 pricing plans. So they vary in price for depending on how much you want to use the platform. It's all kind of pricing is pretty much based around usage.
Hmm.
So our pricing plans are $14.99 for the basic package. That gives you 25 credits. A credit is spent essentially every time you make a search. So throughout when you've seen my demo today, if I'm pressing search on something, it's costing you a credit.
Right.
Um, and then so that's kind of for a passive investor. Then you've got the medium package, which is £25 a month, where you get 80 credits. And then you have the pro package, which is £35 a month, where it's unlimited. So you can use the platform as much as you like. Um, and on the medium standard package and pro package, you get access to branded PDFs. So you can add your brand to it,
Right.
etc. You can download PDFs, CSVs, etc. Also, I will note though the short-term accommodation is only available to pro users. So you have to be on the £35 a month pro plan, but with the value that's delivering, it's well worth it.
Oh
So
my God, you better know
yeah,
that's
I
nothing. That's
definitely
peanuts. Again, other lesser platforms I've seen, I've used, I've tried. Some of them are good, but they're very pricey and restrictive. Some are not pricey, but to be honest, you're wasting your time trying to get the data from them because it's just not worthwhile. So what you're offering there is just ridiculous. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Oh, I tell you, we could have been on for like another 3 hours here. There's so much, and I think folks
I
watching
know.
this can understand that. I think they can wait a minute. It's got that. It's got this. It's got oh my goodness. Once you've got it, do the free trial, take that on, and then focus in the area that means something to you. Because as we've both said, everybody's different. We're all doing different things in the industry. We're all kind of working our business in different ways. So you go and do you, which is absolutely brilliant. And Nico, what's the future? I mean, you keep adding so many bells and whistles and things. Have you just got that bug? Do you and the team just love your baby so much that you're always going to just keep looking after it?
Yeah, to be honest, we just have an obsession to have the best, most affordable platform in the market.
Yeah.
That's our obsession. So every day, that's what we're looking to do. I mean, I remember last time we spoke was just before Christmas, and there's so much now on it that wasn't even on it then.
I
So
know.
who knows where we'll go in the future? We just go where the market goes.
Right.
The whole kind of our whole tool from the start was all about getting people to enter into new strategies and allowing them without boundaries. I
Mm.
think coming back to uni, I remember looking at whether or not I was going to research property for my thesis, and the issue was you were coming up against platforms that were 100, 150, 200, £250 a month. So
Yeah.
that's what we're there to stop and to allow people who haven't got that budget or don't need
Mm.
or want to spend that on a platform. We're here and it's quality. quality data and up-to-date tools. So in the future, I don't know, maybe a new strategy will come out of the woodwork, and we'll develop a tool for that as well. So
You're going to be
yeah, no, it's
analysing
it's interesting.
properties on Mars for Elon Musk, something like that. Something wacky is coming down the pipe, I can tell.
I don't know if they do price per square foot on Mars yet, so we need to see.
Oh, brilliant. Well, listen, I mean, that's just been amazing. Everyone listening in, watching in, I know you've been impressed. Rewind, focus on the wee bits that, mean something to you. But whenever it's safe to do so, use the links, jump in there, head off, get the tool, try things out, because I know for a fact you're going to be impressed. I know it because I've used it. I know it because I've compared it with so many other different platforms in the industry. And I know it because I know so many people who work differently and need different things without being boxed in or without being priced out the market. It's just an amazing tool. So, Nico, for launching the tool, for bringing it to where it is, and for your time and effort today, for helping a lot of people see this, thanks a million.
No, thanks, Richard. It's been great coming on. Maybe I can come on again and not show people the platform, just have a deep chat
Just a
about
chit
all
chat.
things data and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. Chat about the market. I like that. I'll hold you to that. Maybe
Yeah,
get you
no,
in the
exactly.
studio so it's a bit nicer than obviously we did the Zoom deliberately so we could show the tool. But let's try and line up a wee in studio one. We can just have a wee chat over a
No,
desk
definitely.
and everything. Tremendous. There you go,
No,
folks.
it sounds good.
So thanks a million to tuning in to This Week in Property. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I did. Remember, with the guests that you just saw, go into the show notes for the page because all of their links are there so that you can get in touch and to get more information. And talking about getting more information, more guests, more insights, more knowledge, etc., make sure you're subscribed. Get the subscription done, get the notifications on, and then we'll always keep in touch with you every single time a brand new show is going to come out. So thanks for tuning to This Week in Property.